Now let's get straight into it with Indigenous leader, No Campaigner, and the director for the Indigenous Forum at the Center for Independent Studies, Warren Mundine. Warren, thanks so much for coming out here tonight. Got to ask you, first of all, what was your reaction to those comments that we heard caught on tape from Thomas Mayo? John Howard's a bastard. Hey, up the communists.
Well, praying to the elders of the Communist Party was like Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels and Lenin and Stalin and all those and Mao Zedong and that. What the hell are these people? We've been sold a pup. By this Prime Minister. This Prime Minister said, oh, it's nothing to worry about, nothing to see here, nothing to see here. And then you see the people who are going to be running this voice. They're out there just wanting to rip down this country and destroy it.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. One of the things that Mayo talked about was ripping down colonial institutions. But if you think about it, I mean, that means Parliament, the High Court, right?
Yes, it means all of that stuff that have been built up over centuries, those institutions that have kept the rule of law. You look since 1967 when we got equality and we got race out of the Constitution. Look what's happened. These people are on falsehoods. First of all, we've always had a voice. Otherwise, if we didn't have a voice, how come we had the 67 referendum? How come we didn't? How come we got land rights? How come we got all these things?
Well, and I mean, this is something that, I think we spoke a bit earlier on the phone about, Warren, which I thought was a really profound point. People say that, well, things haven't changed, things haven't gotten better, but you made the point when we spoke earlier about how things have actually gotten better.
Well, they got better because when I was a kid in the 60s, this idea of going to university was like, what was a university? In fact, you could count on one hand how many Aboriginals have gone through. Now you've got hundreds of doctors, hundreds of lawyers, hundreds of, you've got engineers, you've got accountants, you've got teachers, you've got all these people who've been through universities, thousands of them in university at the moment. Half the country, 50% of the country, under native title and land rights has been handed back to the Aboriginal community. We've got all these things. So this idea that nothing's happened is just a lot of baloney.
And yet, though, what Thomas Mayo and also Anthony Albanese, because he said it would be a brave parliament that did not follow the recommendations of the voice, they're all saying that actually, while it won't technically have a veto, at least it will have some pretty strong moral suasion, and it just takes one high court judgment to embed that sort of thing in law, doesn't it?
Well, it does, and we've seen it in the Love case, where because if you've got Aboriginal blood, then you can't be, even though you're not a citizen of this country, which this person wasn't, and he committed a crime, and so they're going to kick him out of the country, but they couldn't do it. But the thing that got it gets me really angry is that we've built this incredible liberal democracy in the last 50 years. And we've got a pluralist society. We've got every race in the world, every faith in the world, every person equal in this country and able to build and work. And we've got people coming risking their lives on boats to come here. The only people leaving this country, if we are such racists, are people on P&O cruises going on holidays. And now, I just find this. This is what it's all about. I've never in all my life seen so many people talking about race and attacking and abusing people and making threats.
And Warren, the No campaign, you're heavily involved with the No campaign. The No campaign starts from a position of disadvantage. It doesn't have the advantage of the incumbent government behind it. It doesn't have all the corporate money that's going behind it, all the big charitable foundation money that's going behind your case. Tell us, what can viewers out there look forward to from the No case and how you're going to be getting the message out about this? Because the polls, though, still are on your side and going your way. But what can people out there, who might be saying that, oh, but we're just getting overwhelmed with yes ads and so on?
Well, that's what they're going to
see.
That's what they're going to do. They're just going to pour millions and millions of dollars into ads and campaigning and saying things like, oh, this is a wonderful thing for our country, so you must be a bigot and a racist if you want to do it. You know what I say to them? Your boss, your sporting code, your people cannot follow you into the polling booth. It is a secret ballot, and you can vote any way you like. And I think this is going to turn into our Brexit.
There's a wonderful old campaign poster from the Italian elections in the 50s where they said, in the voting booth, God can see you, Stalin can't. It sort of feels a little bit like that. But does this
You're
at
not
all?
far off.
But are you concerned, though? You know, because there does seem to be, from the Yes campaign, they really do seem to be trying to refocus and say, oh, no. It's really about the recognition. The recognition is the big thing. Are you concerned that they're going to do a bait and switch and try and tell people it's not a big deal, and then the voice just sort of slips in?
Well, they've seen the polling that we're seeing, and you're right. They don't even talk about the voice anymore. They talk about reconciliation. They talk about recognising that. But the Australian public aren't mugs. As soon as they say those first things, then the Australian people go, well, what about the voice? There's two other things too. There. What about the treaty? What about truth telling? We're going to have a commissar of truth now. You can tell us what we can say and what we can't say. This is what it's all. Look, these blokes have just exposed themselves for what they truly are.
Yeah, and finally, you know, just the government, the Albanese government said from the start, no, we're not giving any funding to one side or the other. And yet today we've had, I think, 20 universities come out and say they're pushing for the voice, but they're all getting government funding.
Yeah.
Shouldn't the government, in fairness, say, no, sorry, you know, if you're going to be pushing the yes case or the no case,
yeah, same
you're out of
way.
funding.
Yeah, that's right. Look, I just find it bizarre that people that you would think are normal, sensible people, all of a sudden have gone mad. You know, I just cannot believe, you know, like the Bar Association. Now, what does that mean for me and the justice of the Supreme Court of New South Wales? You know, because I'm a no voter, am I going to get a fair trial in the future? Well, you know, this is just all going down the gurgler. We've got this beautiful, pluralist, liberal democracy society, and these blokes want to destroy it.
Warren Mundine, always a voice of common sense. Thank you so much for your time tonight on the Bolt Report.
Thank you.